Chair of the Hudson River Valley Greenway.
And I'm Meg Downey. I'm Chair of the Hudson River Valley Greenway Communities Council, and we welcome you today. Before we get started and everything and go around the room and do introductions, I just wanted to make one announcement for those who may not have heard this. It's really with immense sadness that I tell you that William Barnabas McHenry, our beloved Barney, who is chair of the Greenway Council, the founding chair, and died on Saturday at age 95 at his home in New York City. None of us would be in this room if it hadn't been for Barney, because he not only led the Greenway for 30 years, he helped create it and was very significant in that. And we're going to properly honor Barney at our next meeting, which will be at Boscobel in October. And that's another Hudson Valley institution that he helped lead. He was there more than 55 years on their board and as chair. There's a really lovely write-up that Barney's sons did that you're welcome to take with you. It'll be on the table outside afterwards. But right now, I'd like to turn to our Conservancy chair, Kevin Burke, who really worked closely with Barney for many years, and he would like to say a few words. Kevin?
Yes, thank you, Meg. This is really difficult news for all of us and difficult time. We loved Barney very much, and I owe him so much. I know a lot of us feel the same way. For many years, when I joined the Greenway, Barney was the face of the Greenway. He was the Greenway, and his reach and influence in our valley extended well beyond that too. He just had such a joy and such a zest for life and for the work. He worked very hard for many years, and he loved to make things happen. And he was just so much fun to be around. I think all of us will remember his iconic bow ties, which he effortlessly wore, and his good humor and his friendliness, and the way that he just had been this bridge figure from the very founding of the Greenway, and before that, all the way up to its 25th anniversary. So he really is a founding father of the Greenway, right up there with Maurice Hinchey and Governor Cuomo. And I think, I was thinking yesterday when we lost him, got the news that we had lost him, that, the Hudson River Valley was never the same because of Barney, and it will never be the same without him. And I look forward very much to honoring him at our fall meeting in October, where we can properly celebrate his life and great works. But I just wanted to make a brief note that, as Meg was saying, we wouldn't be here without him. We owe him so much. And the best way to honor him is just to keep working at this mission and to keep advancing this cause. He loved the Valley very much, and I think we should just continue to honor him by loving it as intensely as he did. So thank you, and I'm sorry that I couldn't be there in person today to mourn with all of you, but know that that my heart is breaking. I'm sure a lot of yours is too. But there's a lot to be proud of. What a life! What an incredible legacy. So we celebrate Barney today. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, so we'll start with introductions, and since we're already on Zoom, let's finish up the Zoom intros, and I'm just going to say them as I see them. Shannon, I'm going to start with you to, I know you're up on the screen, but I just saw it, so I'm sorry about that. You have to push the button on the microphone in front of you in order for it to make a sound.
Shannon Day, I am with the Greenway.
Okay, and Jennifer, I see you there.
Good morning, Jennifer Carlquist with Boscobel Restoration, and also Putnam County Representative. Thank you.
Thank you. And Matthew?
Hi, Matt Schneid, the New York County Representative. Nice to be here and see everyone again.
Great. And Anthony, I think it's you.
Hi, Skip Piscatelli, New York City. Good morning.
Morning, thank you. Okay. And Andy, you want to start? And we'll go around the room.
Hi, Sean Hammond here with Assemblyman Beepan's office. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jane McLaughlin. I'm the Conservancy Treasurer. Good morning, Amy Bracewell, National Park Service Superintendent and liaison to the Heritage Area.
Good morning, Jim Gaughan, representative from Albany County to the Greenway.
Hi, I'm Sarah Olson, Conservancy Secretary.
Thank you.
Tom Wormuth, Marist College Conservancy Representative.
Good morning, Elizabeth Tavares on behalf of Senator Michelle Hinchy.
I'm late. I'm Katie Brown, representing Ulster County, Deputy Supervisor for the town of Nepal.
Susan Lanfried on behalf of Secretary of State Walter Mosley.
Good morning, Linda Malavi, representing Empire State Development Commissioner Hope Nye.
Good morning, Kelly Turturro, representing DEC Commissioner Amanda Lefton.
Hi, I'm Mark Aceta. I am from New York State Parks, and I am also Linda Cooper's proxy and assistant.
Good morning, Mary McNamara with the Communities Council, also representing Ulster County.
Jane Daniels, Conservancy member.
Linda Buckley, representing Memphis County on the Greenway Council.
Yeah, Mark McGlynn, OGS, representing Commissioner Moy.
I'm Ryan Feeney. I'm here on behalf of Assemblymember Chris Ekus.
Beth Campochiaro with the Greenway. I'm taking the minutes.
Angela Henry, Dutchess County representative for the council.
Bob Elliott, council board member.
Okay, and let's go back here.
Yeah, I'm Dan Jeanson, Greenway staff.
Ingrid Heckel, Hudson River Estuary Program, New York State DEC.
Priscilla Brendler, Executive Director of Greater Hudson Heritage Network.
Diane Dintroff. I've written a few grants for our lovely little town of Thesopus and tourism articles.
Okay.
Hi, Lindsay McMahon. Apologies for being a few moments late. I'm with the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets.
Andy Villani, Executive Director, Hudson River Valley Institute here at Marist University.
Walt Daniels, visitor.
Okay.
Cody Arana, Regional Planner with the Hudson River Valley Greenway.
And I've just been asked to let everyone know that if you're not speaking, you might want to turn off your mic because it picks up all ambient sound and it will be broadcast on the Zoom.
Okay, if everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. So we'll officially call the meeting of both boards to order. And we're fortunate to have not only as a board member, but an important part of Marist campus here is Dr. Tom Wermus, who will be welcoming us. Tom is the Frank T. Bumpus Chair in Hudson River Valley History and Culture at Marist and the Academic Director of the Hudson River Valley Institute. Tom?
Thanks, Meg, and I'll do it right from here.
That's fine.
I identified myself incorrectly when I went around the room. I said Marist College. We are Marist University. We have been that since January and February. So welcome to Marist University and welcome to the Hudson River Valley Institute here at Marist College. Marist has had a long history with the Greenway. I think back to the origins. President Emeritus Dr. Dennis Murray worked on it quite a bit. So I don't need to speak that much about Marist outside of we're a comprehensive master's level institution. We have about 5,000 traditional undergraduates that come to the college, about 1,000 or so graduate students. We have a whole range of academic programs from the undergraduate to the graduate. We tend to have signature programs primarily, or in addition to others, in our technology area, which we are in the technology building. Also in our fashion program, about 10% of Marist students are fashion students, which is a little unusual for a liberal arts college like this. Probably one of the most unique things is that half of Marist College students study abroad during their time at the college. That's more than double the national average, literally 1 out of every 2 students, all around the world for a semester, for a year. The most popular place is our own branch campus in Florence, Italy, where we offer 8 4-year degrees. So we have students that never come to the Marist Poughkeepsie campus, but study art, art history, Italian, all the things that one would connect with that. But also, so that's Marist University, but also here at the university, we have the Hudson River Valley Institute. And the Hudson River Valley Institute is in its 23rd year-ish, I believe. And I'll have to also point out that Barney was one of the founders of the Hudson River Valley Institute and was on our board of trustees for more than 20 years. The Institute's role, we have worked very closely with the National Heritage Area in a variety of different programs. The goal of the Institute is to promote the history, the environment, the culture, the art of the Valley. We do so in a variety of different ways with a digital library that we worked on with, again, the National Heritage Area, with various conferences, and with the publication of our journal, the Hudson River Valley Review, which is a peer refereed journal published twice a year. If there happened to be someone here who does not subscribe, we do have possibilities for one to do that before they leave. And the one other thing I'd point out, because we'll certainly be working with the Heritage Area on this, is that in 1 year, the first or second week of June, we'll be hosting the annual New York History Conference here at Marist University. The theme will be the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, the Declaration of Independence. And so that is something you'll hear more about as we get closer to it. So again, very special welcome to everyone here in the Greenway, and let's have a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. The Institute is a real gem. Okay, I wanted to review the agenda. We have one addition, is that correct, Andy? We have one addition. Okay, and that is adding the Village of Wesley Hills in Rockland County. That's to make it a Rockland County community designation, which we're very excited about. And so that'll be added to the agenda. Is there any other comments about the agenda, or anyone need anything else added? Okay, continue. And then I'd like to approve the minutes of March 12th, 2025, of the joint meeting. Do I have a motion from the board from the for approving the minutes?
I make that motion, but with one amendment. I attended by proxy. I was not here in person.
Okay, we will correct that. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Kitty, for telling us that. Is there a second? Bob? Okay.
Before you go through it, I believe your presentations are always in the minutes because they're, okay, it was not, my presentation was not.
Oh, we should definitely have that in the minutes.
Yeah.
Because that was a great presentation.
Okay.
Thank you
I know in the past you always have them on there. Okay.
Oh, well,
it also shows that people do read the minutes. So
yes, but no, we should definitely do that because it's a record of what we've done. So that's important.
Okay.
So thank you for pointing that out, Jane.
Okay.
Great. Okay. So with that, that amendment, can I have a vote? All in favor? Aye. Anyone against? No? Okay, that's passed. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to pivot to Betsy.
Hello. I'm just going to call the meeting to order for the Greenway Conservancy. And as a reminder, there's one organization, but of multiple parts, which are listed on the top of the agenda on the first page. So we're going to have all the meetings happen at once at this one meeting. So at the Conservancy meeting, first just wanted to note that we've engaged for our audit a firm, Lutz, Zelig, and Zaranda, CPAs, to conduct the annual audit of the Conservancy and nonprofit. And The status is we're currently uploading the requested information, and our goal is to have a complete audit to present at the October meeting. So I'm just going to turn it over to Andy as a part of that about the internal controls policy update that we need to approve.
Great. Thank you, Betsy. So over the past several months, we've made several changes to our accounting internal controls. And I can list them all off for you. And with Scott leaving, the other thing that we needed to do was to update our internal controls policy to reflect the changes that we've made. So there's an updated policy in your packet. It just needs to be approved. We will call for that motion after Beth does her trail designations. There's no major changes right now. I do want to just give a heads up that I will be changing it again later this year because we're going to be hiring a finance manager at some point in the next couple of months. So we will do that. So, but to keep us all on the same page in terms of how we handle our internal financial processes, accounting procedures, et cetera, there's a very clear policy in your packet.
Great. Thank you. And Beth is going to tell us about trails designation.
Yeah, we have one trail designation for you to approve. The North County Trailway connection to the Village of Briarcliff Manor Central Business District trail, and that is 0.325 miles. It's a walking trail that connects the North County Trailway to the Village of Briarcliff Manor's downtown business district. We provided them with a Greenway grant for improvements that included permeable asphalt surfacing, directional signage, and Wi-Fi. The new trail improves access to various community amenities, and it's fostered connectivity for residents and visitors. So that is the trail that is up for designation as part of the Greenway trail system.
All right, and we'll call for one motion to approve both that internal control policy and the trails designation, just to be efficient. Oh, question? Oh, make the motion. Thank you. All right, then I'll need a second. Okay, Sarah? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, then the motion is carried. Great. So then on the topic of trails, Cody will give us an update on the Albany Hudson Electric Trail. And if you didn't see it out there, there is a nice document about it on your way in or out of this meeting. Cody?
Thanks, Betsy. Appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. My name is Cody Arana. I'm the regional planner for the Hudson River Valley Greenway. And I am going to go over the Albany Hudson Electric Trail, some construction updates on our current construction project, and also our latest trail use report. Nothing's moving the slide forward. I could just tell you to move the slide forward. If you hit it once, it'll start the title. There we are. All right, construction update and trail use. Yep. There we are. All right, so no worries, yep. All right, we can move it to the next one. Okay, so as I was saying, so at our last board meeting that we had in Newburgh, I kind of went over our management role over the 36-mile route of the Albany Hudson Electric Trail. In 2020, we finished the construction and putting together the Empire State Trail, and the Albany Hudson Electric Trail was one of those sections that we had to construct. During the original construction for the Albany Hudson Electric Trail, 75% of the trail was paved and another 25% was left stone dust, and that was primarily for budget reasons. Newfound money has came by, as I mentioned at the last board meeting. We were awarded $4 million out of the Environmental Bond Act to pave the remaining 9.5 miles through DEC. So that's what we've been doing. We started construction in April. It was bid out in February and Colarusso and Sons was the lowest bidder. We received $4 million for the project. Our lowest bidder came in at 1.9. We were kind of blown away. Actually, it was a really, really good price, and there's a lot of reasons why they would be able to be competitive. But at the same time, this is the same contractor that originally did the trail in Columbia County. So we have a lot of confidence that they can do it in an efficient and well manner. At this current point in time, since we started construction in April, we're more than 50% complete. So we're ahead of schedule. Project is going well. As you know, it's been raining a lot. So that's created a little bit of concern, but we've been moving strong forward. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll actually be completely done with the paving aspect of the project, as long as the weather decides like it wants to cooperate. And then we will be done with construction by the beginning of August. More likely, it's going to be about a week before that, at the end of July. So the trail is going to be completely paved, all 36 miles, and ready for Cycle to Hudson Valley. That's going to bring hopefully around 500 riders all the way from Albany down to New York City. So that's my construction update. I kept it nice and short. Are there any questions before I move on to the second part of my presentation?
I would just like to note, too, that Andy Beers has been involved in this project, too.
Yes.
I appreciate his support.
I apologize for not mentioning that. This is a project that Andy Beers has primarily led, and Andy Kitzman and I have been helping along the way, as well with our engineer, GPI. Any questions? Jane?
I'm glad to see it's paved.
Yes, we are too. It's going to be a lot less erosion issues with the stone dust sections of the trail. A lot of Columbia County's soil is very clay-like, and the water's just washing out our stone dust sections. It's costing a lot of maintenance, and it's been a little bit of a nightmare. About 27 locations have been eroded, and we've had to spend a quite significant amount of money on maintenance. So we're hoping that this is going to resolve a lot of that. We can move on to the next slide if we don't have any other questions. Okay. So now I'm going to pivot and talk about the latest trail use report for the Albany-Hudson Electric Trail. We started our counter program 3 years ago at the beginning of 2021. At the end of 2022, we had our first full year of data. At this point in time, we have 3 full years of data on the Albany-Hudson Electric Trail. There are 12 sites on that 36-mile route, and they're about 2.8 miles apart. So it's pretty fair to say that this is probably one of the most studied trails in the Hudson Valley, which we're proud of. Another piece of that, we have been surveying across the trail, 10 sites specifically we have surveyed so far, and about 28 hours is what we have estimated. With those surveys, we've figured out that about 41% of our users are cyclists and about 59% of our users are pedestrians. And now that we have 3 years of data, we've been able to put together a projection using a very similar formula that was put together by a consultant, Ulta, when we originally constructed the Empire State Trail. And we estimate that 630,000 visitors are attracted to the trail annually, which is a very significant number and we're very proud of. So we can move on to the next slide. I'm going to just talk a little bit about some of the specific sites just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on. So as you can see, the southeast part of East Greenbush is the highest use site. And if you see that trend line, the lowest site is the most north. I'm sorry that it didn't go the opposite. And at the highest, the town of Greenport is the southernmost site on the trail. That trend line shows you as farther you get from Albany, visitor use declines, which makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. The suburbs are the East Greenbush, so the suburb of the city of Albany. And just the farther you get, there's less trail use. But some things to note, East Greenbush, Nassau, which is also in Rensselaer County, and Village of Kinderhook in Columbia County are some of the most used sections of the trail. Next slide. So just kind of an idea for next year, only specifically to the Albany Hudson Electric Trail. We want to start examining trend use data a little bit more. So we're going to reinstall 2 counters in locations that we've already installed counters, so we can tell if visitation has increased, decreased, stayed the same. Also, we're going to install counters at 2 new sites on the trail in East Greenbush, directly where the off-road section starts, and then in the town of Stockport, which is a more rural part of the trail. Next slide. And so what does this all mean? The community and implications for planners. How can we use this? This report provides community planners and local governments with a really useful tool. It gives them investments. They can use this tool to give them insights on where investments are needed and where economic opportunities lie. So if you know where the most used sites are, that's maybe where most of the signage or most of the amenities you might want to place. We know where the high visitation areas are, like I was just saying. So maybe where parking is needed a little bit more than other locations. We also know the segments of the trail that are underutilized and maybe they need a little bit more promotion efforts, or maybe we need to study why they're not used as much. Maybe parking is not as readily available. And the last part to that idea is it supports trail enhancements and communities applying for trail grants to improve their trail. They can use these numbers in their grant applications to give them more leverage, to leverage that community and to leverage their assets. And then move, next slide, please. I think that wraps it up. So any questions on the trail use report?
How were the 2 new locations for counters, how were those selected?
So typically, we have been prioritizing where do we want our counters, and so we started that in 2021. The next year is what's left after that, and what's left after that. So this time, we'll have 2 in the same spots as last year and 2 in new spots. New spots, we're running into a situation where we have very little new spots. So we're going to start pivoting and doing a little bit more studying on trend use data. And we primarily do that on a lot of different reasons. What makes the most sense? We kind of want it by a parking lot so people have access, but we're not necessarily so focused on that because there's a lot of people who are just jumping on the trail through their backyard and things like that. We want a spot where there's a wooden fence, where we can easily install it. We want a spot that's maybe not too vegetated. Some of the vegetation with the wind blowing can kind of set off the sensor, and we get a lot of false counts and false readings and things of that sort. We also want a spot that maybe the public doesn't easily see, so it could be a little hidden so we don't have any vandalism issues.
Thank you.
Mary?
Thank you for that report. I was wondering, it's slightly different from the focus of of your slide, but how many are there sidewalks near some of the entrance places? Because I was wondering if that changes the type of use.
Yeah, it does. Because if you look at East Greenbush, it was more used than a lot of the trail, and it's one of the only communities that actually has sidewalks along the trail. So sidewalks are useful, but there's not a lot of sidewalks on most of the trail or connections to the trail. A lot of them, like the town of Skodak and the village of Nass, it's pretty rural in general. People are getting on the trail either at a trailhead or they have a little community access point. Any other questions? Beth?
Having walked it, having more parking spaces that aren't just specifically that a cyclist is going to use encourages people to come out and walk. I was surprised the cyclists were a higher rate than the pedestrians, because when Walt and I were walking it, we saw more pedestrians than we saw cyclists. Like, yeah. A lot more, and they're the locals.
Yes, yes. So pedestrians was 59% and cyclists was 41%. And we are actively looking for new parking spots. We have at least one spot that might be a potential opportunity, and I can't speak on it beyond that. Anything else, Beth?
It's not really a question. I just wanted to build on, I wanted to mention it before and I forgot, and then Cody made a nice segue right into it. When he mentioned that it could be useful, the information could be useful for communities that were applying for trail grants. The trail grant, Conservancy trail grant applications will be available on June 30th. With a deadline of September 5th for award at the October 8th board meeting. And trail grants are available for land and water trails, trail construction, design and planning, rehabilitation or improvement that includes amenities, and natural disaster recovery and reconstruction. And it's on our website. It will be available on, through our website. And you can also email or call me with any questions. And just encouraging people to take a look at that and what projects you might have that would be suitable.
Thank you, Beth. And if there's no more questions, I'm going to leave it with, you can go onto our website, the Albany Hudson Electric Trail landing page on our website. You can download the report. There's a couple printed copies out there at the registration table where you walked in. And if you have any questions on the side, you can come and talk to me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That concludes the Conservancy portion of the meeting, and we'll turn it over to Meg for the council.
Okay, thank you, Cody and Betsy. All right, I'm going to call the Greenway Communities Council meeting to order, and we're going to have Dan come up and give a report about the Community and Compact Committee.
Okay, thank you, Meg. Hi, I'm Dan Jeanson, Project Director here at the Greenway. Just wanted to give a quick update. A couple of months ago, we formed a new committee, Community and Compact Committee. It's newly formed April 2025. We met first. We met also a couple of weeks ago. It's made up of board members and several staff, Meg, Cindy Lanzetta, Carl Castillo, and Cody and I, and Andy. This committee is tasked with expanding outreach of the community and the compact program. Some of the goals include updating existing county compacts and getting counties without compacts to bring them on board with new compacts. This committee will be meeting either bi-monthly or quarterly. We're still working that out. And one of the things that, like I said, we're trying to get new communities to sign up. This leads into the next bullet on the agenda, which is these new communities. We have 3 now on the agenda. The town of Galway in Saratoga County. This is a rural community in a part of the region that we don't yet have a lot of communities. So we're excited about this one. They did apply for an application or for a council grant. While the grants committee didn't recommend funding at this time, Cody and I are going to work with them to improve their application and get them in for October. A new compact community is the town of Minnesink in Orange County. They actually applied for a compact grant, so this is the impetus for them applying to be a compact community. Cody and I had a great couple of calls with them over the spring, and they're excited to become part of the compact. And we also had a very recent addition, the village of Wesley Hills in Rockland County. They passed their community designation last night at a village board meeting. Cody and I had a great call with them. They admitted selfishly that they're applying for a New York State Parks grant, which is why they wanted to become a Greenway community, get that scoring bonus. But Cody and I let them know that there's a lot of great opportunities down the road for them to apply for a Greenway grant. They also admitted that they don't have a comprehensive plan, so we're going to get them on board with that eventually. And that's what I got on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. It's good work. And thank you, Cody, too, for your comments a few minutes ago, and Beth and Shannon over there, too. It's always good to recognize our staff. They work very, very hard, and I'm just so pleased to be here and be a part of your organization with you. So thank you, guys. One of my fun things that I get to do is announce our grant awards. Our grant managers, Beth and in this case, Dan, as I say every time, do all the work, and I get to make the announcements. So thank you guys for your work on this too. I'm going to start with our compact community grant. We awarded one grant, $50,000 to the town of Minnesink in Orange County for a comprehensive plan and a zoning code update. And then we have 3 awards in the community council grants section. Total award is $43,700. The first award goes to the Village of Dobbs Ferry in Westchester for comprehensive plan update and zoning amendments, $15,000. The town of New Lebanon in Columbia County is the affordable housing and conservation planning, $20,000. And the town of Washington in Dutchess County, an environmental protection district for in 2025 for $8,700. And I just want to note too that we've been really trying hard over the last year to raise awareness for our grants program, to increase the number of applicants. And I just want to recognize again, Dan and Beth, and your hard work in doing that. We had 10 applications in process. Not all of them were ready to submit this time, but we're definitely seeing an uptick in the interest in our grants program. I think we'll continue to see that. And in a few minutes, Carrie, our strategic planning consultant, is going to talk to us. And one of the things that we've really been looking at is our grants program, how we apply them, how we make them, how we think about them. And so we're really looking at taking a hard look at our grants program over the coming year through strategic planning to continue to make these good projects and these good awards. So thank you to everybody for these, and congratulations. Were any of our communities here? I don't think they were. Normally I ask, but I understand none of them were able to make it today. So, okay, sorry. Thanks. All right.
I was just going to encourage the chair to call for a vote on those.
Thank you.
Great.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We need a vote. I'm going to be installing the versions of our program.
Can I have a motion to approve those grants? Oh, all right. And the second is here, Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, carries. Thank you. All right, you go ahead.
Heritage area? Okay. So I will call the meeting together for the Maurice D. Hinchey Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area. Oh, sorry, one more thing? We also need a vote on. We also need a vote on community designations.
I am so sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, which?
So
we needed to vote on the town of Galway, town of Minnesink.
Okay.
And the added one, which is the Village of Wesley Hill. Thank you.
Okay, I'm calling for a motion on the 3 community designations following Minnesink. Wesley Hill, sorry. Second, all in favor? That carries. Thank you.
Okay, terrific. So the Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area, our first order of business is that we are going to have Beth, who's going to talk about the Ramble. I believe? Okay, thanks.
Yes, just a quick note that the 25th annual Hudson River Valley Ramble is going to take place every day between August 30th all the way through the month of September. It's guided walks, hikes, paddles, festivals, and historic site tours. The event submission is open right now at hudsonrivervalleyramble.com. The deadline to be in the printed guidebook is June 17th, but after that date, the events will still be featured on the website, and they'll be promoted through all of our media and promotion materials. We have so many partners on this project. First and foremost, DEC's Hudson River Estuary Program, New York State Parks, Empire State Development, and then we have about 100 partner organizations throughout the valley that host and run these events So if you have anything going on in the month of September or know of any groups that might want to participate, please send them our way. And I want to thank Cody for all of his organizational work and chasing down people to register their events. So we're very happy and proud that this has been going for 25 years.
Yeah, that's amazing and wonderful. It just attracts so many people to all these events. Okay, next, Andy, will you give us an update on federal funding? A fraught topic for everyone right now.
I'd be happy to do that. I see lots of smiles and I heard some giggling. So I don't think it's any surprise that we are challenged with our National Heritage Area funding. And I just want to take a moment before I start to just recognize that Amy Bracewell is sitting here, that Priscilla is over there, that Sarah is former NPS, that Betsy is at a former NPS site, that OPRHP receives support through NPS in a variety of ways, and we're all challenged. And the message is unity. So as I move forward, I want to, first of all, just tell you just briefly what's going on with us. So right now, we are in the federal fiscal year 25 right now. And there were 3 continuing resolutions. The first and second ones had funding advice, and we have a $226,000 request that's been pending for 3 months. What's happened in the interim is that the National Park Service's, the middle of the National Park Service has been eviscerated. And in particular, they've gotten rid of all the finance officers, and then they've moved all finance operations to Department of Interior. And that's made it a real challenge. We are persevering, we are moving forward. I anticipate that we will get those funds. And in that particular case, I requested 100% staffing out of that. So there's no program money in there, but our operations are secure. I do anticipate that we will get that funding. They have been awarding CR1 and CR2 funding awards. CR3 is a different story. CR3, the one that was just passed for the full fiscal year, those funds right now are frozen in Office of Management and Budget, which means that no funding advice has been given to NPS. They can't give funding advice to us. And so we can't even submit for those funds right now. So that's another $294,000. I am not necessarily confident we'll see those funds, but I think we will get the CR2 funding I mentioned. On top of that, the President's budget has zeroed out the National Heritage Area program. It's called the Heritage Partnership Program in the National Park Service. It's not the first time that's happened. The Obama administration did that. The Bush administration did that. It happens all the time. We're in a different year, though. We're in a different cycle. And in the past, we've always had very strong support from Congress, either on the Senate or the House side, that put those funds back in. And it's a challenge right now getting people's attention for that. As you can see from the newspaper, I'm not saying anything that is out of the ordinary here. And so we are doing some things to try to raise awareness for the value of that funding and reinserting that back into the program. In particular, we are really fortunate to have Congressman Paul Tonko, a Democrat in the Albany area. He has been leading the National Heritage Area Caucus for the last 10 years. His co-chair is Republican G.T. Thompson from Pennsylvania, and they are circulating a Dear Colleague letter. And our members, about half of our congressional delegation has signed on to that Dear Colleague letter. That Dear Colleague letter will go to the House Interior Appropriations Committee that oversees our funding. Second, the Hudson River Valley Greenway has reached out to our congressional members directly and asked them to send a letter to House Appropriations, and they have done that. And in particular, I want to call out Congresswoman Stefanik, who has expressed strong support for our program for Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor, Niagara Falls National Heritage Corridor, Champlain Valley, Basin Program and the Fingers Lakes National Heritage Area Program, and she has always been a strong supporter of heritage areas. That's really important to have Republican support, and there aren't many of them at this point. And then finally, our partner letters to Congress. So we've been reaching out to partners throughout the Hudson Valley asking for letters of support. Those letters are being bundled by the Alliance of National Heritage Areas, and then those letters are going to be sent to the Interior Appropriations Committee, and that's where our real value is. So I'm asking for help from folks around the table here because it's your letters to our congressional delegates that matter the most. It's the constituents on the ground. And when you hear the ramble is I don't know what $40,000 a year times 25 years is for the ramble, but it's a significant investment and it's a significant number of sites along with all the other work that we do through the Heritage Area Program. So defending this and championing the value of our program is incredibly important. I'm going to reach out after the meeting and send the template out. Get in touch with me if you want to. I will then follow up with you with addresses to send it to. I don't want to just send it out in a blanket, but I will send addresses out if you're able to do that. I understand that some people may have a conflict of interest. That's, you know, a lot of us work, I don't work for the state. I work for the, not for the Public Benefit Corporation, but a lot of you may be state employees and are precluded from that kind of work. But if you are able to, I would very much appreciate it. And I just want to just close by saying that, you know, the Heritage Area Program started in the mid-'80s with Land of Lincoln, and it was signed into office by then President Reagan. And it's a bipartisan program. Senator Hinchey, Democrat, started Hudson Valley, Senator Hinchey. Congressman Walsh, a Republican, started Erie Canalway. The Niagara Falls was started by a Republican. That's the pattern across the country. And that's really important. And that's the message that we carry to Washington when we go to talk about the value of this program and preserving it. I'm very concerned. If we don't get this funding, we won't have program funding for next year. We will have operations. That's my primary. I've got to reevaluate how we do our programming, and we do have reserves and resources, so we will continue to operate. And we are working hard on that. I do not anticipate any staff layoffs. We absolutely have options for ensuring that the 3 staff members that we have that are funded through the National Heritage Area Program, that we protect them. And as I've said a couple times now, that's my primary concern. I'm going to stop right there because I'll just go off the rails. So, thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Andy. Sarah?
Question, if the Heritage Area Program is funded, will the sites maintain their authorization?
Absolutely. So that's an excellent point. So to clarify, the National Heritage Area Program is in perpetuity. Lasts forever. Congress can't take that away. The administration cannot take that away. What they can take away is the funding. The funding is an annual appropriation that's allocated to us by Congress. And so the impact is on the funding. So yes, the Heritage Area Program will continue to exist. We will continue to promote those 107 heritage sites that Dan coordinates. We will do all that we can to continue to advance that Heritage Area Program, with the understanding that these are appropriated every year, and we'll continue to fight each year to get that money back in. I've mentioned the Alliance of National Heritage Areas. I should just note them very quickly. There are 62 heritage areas across the country from Alaska to Florida. We have an organization called the Alliance. It's a 106 not-for-profit. They have a lobbyist through the National Parks Conservation Association. They are extremely supportive of our work and have been very valuable in helping to steer us appropriately, given the federal and state funding that we receive, in how to handle these matters. So I'm very happy to have them and that family of support behind us.
Thank you. I'd like to just add my endorsement that there are very few things that are bipartisan or that so many Americans agree on, and history and heritage are one of them, that we all really believe that we have to know our history in order to prevent it from repeating, in order to bind us together with the things that we all support. So history and heritage, I think, is something that we all agree should be supported. So that's a hopeful note that message will come through. All right, so I'm going to introduce Dan to provide a recent conference participation update.
Thank you again. Just a couple of quick updates. In April, Beth and I attended the Manny Annual Conference out in Ithaca. I'm going to ask Priscilla to double check my attendance numbers. I have 300 plus on that one in April at Manny. And then, okay, so about 300 at both. Oh yeah, sorry. Museum Association of New York. They are a statewide advocacy program for museums. So as I said, Beth and I attended. That was April 6th through 8th. We had a great breakout session organized by Priscilla, where the people got to meet with funders. We had a little breakout. And then last month here in Poughkeepsie, Cody and I went to the New York statewide preservation conference that was attended by 300. Great events. We sponsored both events with Heritage Area funds, and it was a great opportunity for us to hand out, promotional materials and get the word out on our funding opportunities, which at this point is the Conservancy and the council grants. So, thank you.
Great. Yes, I was at the Museum Association conference and saw your nice table there right at the front. So that was terrific. I'd like to also update everyone on our strategic plan, which is underway, and note that this is the strategic plan for the entire organization, not just the National Heritage Area, but also the Greenways Council, Greenways Conservancy, the whole organization. And we have a committee working on it. So I wanted to thank all the participants for giving their time. So that includes Meg Downey, Kevin Burke, Wint Aldrich, Angela Henry, Sarah Olson, and Jane McLaughlin, and with staff support from Beth Campacharo, Andy Beers, Andy Kitzman. So we have on the Zoom our consultant, Carrie McCarthy, who's going to give us an update and lead us through approximately 35 minutes of the strategic planning. So that's the bulk of our programming at this meeting. Hi, Carrie.
Hi. Hi there. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you in the room.
Right. Thank you.
If anyone on the Zoom cannot see or hear that, let us know by raising your hand or saying something.
Great. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be with you and very happy that our firm is working with the Hudson River Valley Greenway. You are an incredible institution, and it's been a delight to learn more about you. Let me just take you through our screen here. For those of you that may not be aware, One-to-One Advisory LLC was created to work with both nonprofits and philanthropies. And our whole mission is to help organizations get from here to there. We do that by helping organizations understand the landscape in which they operate, look at what the variety of choices are before them, and then make hard decisions, concrete decisions, so that they can then take the next step, which leads to transformation and change. And we do this in a range of services, from coaching and meeting facilitation to philanthropic advising and strategic plans like the one we're doing with you guys. So it's just me today, but we have a team of 3 folks that are working on your strategic plan. So I just wanted to bring them into the room. Melissa Sandor has a long expertise working with nonprofits for nearly 30 years with a deep knowledge actually in resource development. And Preeti Sodhi is a newer consultant who has expertise in land use, come to us from Friends of the Highline. So our process for the strategic plan is that we have been taking a look at your organizational structure and how you operate. We're looking at the mission, vision, and values, and we're doing this, of course, in concert with your strategic planning committee, who we're meeting with on a monthly basis, and we're having what I think are really productive conversations. So we're looking at mission, vision, values. We have created a SWOT analysis where we've looked at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and we'll go through that shortly. We've identified them through 50 interviews with stakeholders that includes some of you in this room, some of your grantees, and lots of other folks. We've looked at the landscape in which you operate. We're doing a fundraising analysis, and we're going to come back to you on October 8th with more detail, and we'll be able to make some hard decisions with the goal of providing you a strategic plan in December. So in terms of the SWOT analysis, look at what we heard. As I said, we talked to 50 folks. We didn't talk to all of the staff. We talked to different members of your different legal entities, the Council and Conservancy. We talked to your grantees, to philanthropists like the Hudson River Foundation, your peer organizations like Scenic Hudson, and with government leaders, mayors and members of the State Assembly. One of the things we heard was that I know the Hudson River Valley Greenway is safe and established. I wonder if it could be daring. And so we kind of are using this as a guide to think about how we go forward. When I share with you the SWOT, just keep in mind that, the weaknesses, that's always a bummer to kind of hear the things that aren't so great. But I want you to remember that the Hudson River Valley Greenway is a hero in this story, in this epic journey that we're going together. And our task is to turn the strategic plan into your cape, right? What's the thing that's going to let you become a superhero at the end of this process? So when we talked to folks and we found out what the strengths of the Greenway were, we heard that it's really your regional perspective, that you span 14 counties, and it's not a lot of entities that do that. You have an empowered organizational structure with the independence of the public benefit corporation. You're neither fish nor fowl in terms of being a state entity. Only one of your branches of your structure is a state agency. You have a credible nonpartisan approach. You have flexibility to bridge gaps and merge between the state resources, the nonprofits that are serving communities, and the communities themselves. Your collaboration and convening power is a strength. You are a trusted and respected resource for municipal planning assistance and technical expertise. I think everyone knows that the Empire State Trail was a huge win, and you have a lot of success with that you can leverage. And you also have the strength of state support right now, particularly at the gubernatorial level. And you have financial reserves that are providing stability, as Andy just noted in his presentation. The other thing is that you have a lot of results over a lot of years. There are so many lessons and case studies that you can share around what does it mean to do successful community planning that's rooted in the environment and the green economy. And you contribute to the regional economic impact of the heritage area, and of course your staff is a strength. In terms of weaknesses, there's a sense of complacency, a static approach to programs and outreach. We heard a little bit about how the grantee base was invariable, wasn't changing a lot. There were a lot of renewals, limited branding and awareness of the organization, which should change with your new hire that's coming in for communications. There's been diminished county engagement. There's a thought that the grant awards are too small when compared to others, and when you look at inflation and the rising costs of what it takes to really achieve the goals of your grantees. We heard that the compact program needs some kind of a refreshment, that the governance of your structure does not truly reflect the diversity of the region. Your staff has limited capacity, and we heard quite a bit about how the size of your staff has diminished over time. There is some confusion around your organizational structure. We heard about an absence of a fundraising culture or program and a lack of evaluation. In terms of the opportunities before you, there's the opportunity for the Greenway to enhance its visibility and engagement through a unified brand, using the board members as ambassadors and engaging the towns more directly. You have an opportunity to leverage your strengths for placemaking. You have the trails that you can use to show that you make a real impact in places. You can connect your water and land trails, and you can make the compact program more meaningful. Another thing that we heard as an opportunity was the opportunity to build capacity and resources, embracing a fundraising culture internally in terms of resource development, particularly with the state. And then with other partners. We heard about the opportunity to expand your programmatic focus, perhaps bringing back an education program and developing them, or taking a leadership role in the community around issues that are really important in the community, like housing, facilitating state-local efforts, creating a Hudson Valley Trail map, and also creating an engaging destination that has clear reasons to visit, in terms of driving tourism to the Greenway. And then another opportunity we heard from your stakeholders about was around this achieving regional leadership. So really expanding the role as a convener and a leading voice for regional cooperation, looking at becoming more of a partner in economic development through tracking more granular visitation data that is tracked, and then catalyzing programs and becoming a stronger advocate for historic assets. The threats that we heard about were low public awareness and name recognition, the changing political priorities at the state level, vulnerability to government funding cuts, which you all just talked about. There's a risk of potentially being absorbed by larger state agencies. A generational disconnect was something we also heard about, and confusion around differentiating the Greenway from other regional entities. We heard that there could be danger in being perceived as a mile wide and an inch deep because of your such broad regional focus that you have, and also being seen as non-essential, like, are you a nice to have program instead of a need to have organization? And I think everybody in that room feels that you are a need to have organization. That came clear at our committee meetings. There was the threat around the lack of clarity around the compact program. And we heard about a desire for more monies to go out to maintain the trails that had been planned, designed, and built with your grant making. And then potentially agonizing peers and antagonizing peers by if you were to do fundraising aggressively. So what does all this mean? There are lots of places you could go. And so your stakeholders had a lot of ideas. And these are just a couple I'm just going to share with you here. One was really to lean into your comprehensive regional planning role, where you could convene the county planners, for example. Another was really to proclaim your many, many, many achievements. You just talked about the ramble. We heard a desire to turbocharge it, and to make your grant program more meaningful through bigger grant dollars awarded, or lowering the match, and doing more outreach to bring more new organizations into the fold. That you could look to creating administrative efficiency. So One idea would be to reduce the grant applications where you take them in through only one deadline a year. Another idea was to provide free land use planning to your municipal partners, and or through trail design engineering consultants, for example, that you have on a retainer that just kind of ride the circuit. We heard about ways you could fill in gaps in the trail system, improving water access with more hand launches and swimming opportunities, which of course means you're going to need more parking in those areas. And then we also heard about focusing on the west side of the river. There's an opportunity to do for the west side what happened on the east side. We also heard around a direction that could be around placemaking and really creating a place, a specific place that you could go and experience the Greenway. So do you get a vessel, put that on the river, have that become a tourism destination and visitor center, and run all kinds of educational and community programs out of it? We heard another direction could be around rebuilding the education program or finding new resources from the state and embracing a fundraising culture that starts with the state, with government donors. And then reinvigorating the compact program was another direction. You have a chance to update that, recertify it, and use that as a way to bring in new signatories. So I know that is a whole lot of information. It's a lot, but going to leave you with that. And then I'd love to just have a conversation if we can. And Andy, I'm going to ask you to kind of monitor time because I'm not sure where we are time-wise, and call on people. But my question for the room, for anyone there on the board who'd like to chime in here, is there are so many directions that the Greenway can go, and there is the reality of the larger macroeconomic situation that's happening outside of our doors. So where do you all see as the real opportunity over the next 3 to 5 years? I'd love to just have a brief conversation, and I'd love to hear from first from folks who are not on the strategic planning committee, because I have the pleasure of working with them on a more regular basis. So for those of you that are just hearing this information for the first time, where do you think the Greenway should be focusing its opportunity in the near term, midterm?
Could you go back one slide just so that we can promote the Wallkill Valley Land Trust, which is right there. I was one of the founders, and our first project was buying the rail trail from Conrail, and 25 years later, the Land Trust has to raise money to manage it and keep it open for the public. It is a hugely beloved community asset. And in fact, the executive director is going to be stopping in a little bit later, because as it has become part of the Empire State Trail, it is a big responsibility for a handful of volunteers. So in one of your slides, you talked about fundraising, more promotion for trails. That's something I'm very, very glad to hear, because I think everybody in this room probably has an Empire State or a local trail running through their community that we manage, and the technical assistance, I think I saw some planning assistance in there. I don't think we take advantage of that enough, and that is a tremendous program that both the Greenways could offer and spearhead and chair. My Historic Preservation Commission went to that meeting that you talked about in Poughkeepsie. They were thrilled by it. They had no idea that the Greenway had any role in sponsoring it. All the credit and discussion went to OPRHP. So we need to, promote ourselves a little bit more. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. you all know I'm a trail person, okay? And I noticed there was a comment to put the grants for trails once a year. I've seen that happen in the past. Trail people don't operate on a one-year basis. They operate continuously. And to say we're going to scale back and only have it once a year is a mistake. I know that there were not a lot of applications, so you scaled back to twice a year. And having the grants awarded in October, you're at the tail end of trail work at that point. Middle of October, you have maybe 1 month, and in the lower Hudson Valley, you might get another month in before the ground freezes. Because of the grants have to be awarded at a board meeting, it makes it difficult to push the two of them closer together. But I know there's one in January because the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference got one. And then if there were one that was came out right after that, so that it could be awarded in June, I think it would be a better way of having those grants. Second of all, the going away from the 50% match, I think would help a lot for organizations. Every small organization, every medium size, every large has troubles raising funds, and it might be really nice if you made it not the 50%, but you got maybe 75. That's a personal opinion of mine. The Trail Conference has received grants for trails, and I'm sure that they would welcome that. So thank you.
Yes, I wanted to start out, Carrie, I'm glad that the Greenway has you and your staff, because those opportunities seem overwhelming, especially when you go back to the slide of capacity and all of the challenges that you're facing. But what struck me in the energy of those opportunities and the comments were leveraging all of the organizations and the bodies of this group together, and maybe having the Greenway as that hub, serving as that hub and relying on those collaborations, empowering those to be the advocates and the voices, but also there's the skills that might be needed for the group, and using the Greenway as this gel and glue to get that word out. I just saw a lot of energy around needing to have a bigger impact, but maybe utilizing what we have in the room.
That's great.
Carrie, this is Meg. Could you put that list back up of the that you had toward the end, just before the slide?
Now this, just a reminder, right? These are some things you can do that have been suggested. This is not necessarily what you will do. We're really asking you all to help us prioritize where you want to go, what's most important, given the larger economics at play.
If someone on the Zoom wanted to make a comment, how would they indicate that? They raise a hand or?
I think Shannon is going to actually addressing that right now, and I believe you can just unmute yourself and make your comment.
Okay.
I think Jennifer Carlquist had a comment.
Yes. Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you, Andy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. I just wanted to amplify the last comment in that I think the Greenway is so uniquely positioned to speak to and amplify all of the work that is both in the environmental planning work and recreation space and the cultural planning work and recreation space. really unlike any other entity, and that is so specific to the Hudson Valley and very much needed. So if there's a way to really invest in a regional plan that connects those two sectors, because they certainly are connected in nature, they're connected in the economy, they're connected in visitation patterns, but really to get a sense of what the organizations need and what drives that visitation and that participation in those sectors. I think that the Greenway is uniquely suited to do that, and I would hope a study like that would help inform what the Greenway helps support going forward.
Great. Thank you for that. That's great. I'd love to know if people feel like, what is the number one priority? What is the top priority that the Greenway should be focused on over the next 3 to 5 years? If you could really only do one thing and do it really, really well, where should the attention be focused?
Well, and if I may just continue on, I'll add to that that I think a region-wide study of what participation and visitation patterns are now post-COVID is so critical. The world has entirely changed in the last 5 years. How can our environmental and cultural institutions really meet this moment and plan for the future? I think only the Greenway is positioned to understand that and help the rest of us.
So, thank you for that. Anyone else?
I'd like to raise the question that you had about the generational divide. Okay. I work with youth. Okay. I'm the old lady. I'm the sage. But I have a situation where I had 2 volunteers. One was recently retired. The other was a recent graduate without a job. Not surprising the way things are going. The younger one supplied something to the retiree. We're doing archive work, that he wrote back and said how valuable it was. So the valuable working with youth, and especially those that are just out of college, is there any way that the Greenway can provide summer internships that might help give that, or something during a summer, say after their junior year in college? That starts to form, because we're all older. I'm in my 80s, okay? And this is a way that you can bridge those gaps, reach out, go past their parents, go to the recent graduates, the ones who are in school, to be able to give them a boost at a lower cost. Yes, it takes time to work with someone, but I think that the value for the Greenway would be enormous if they would do that. Okay. It's not a priority, but it's just more of a suggestion.
Thank you for that.
Well, maybe I ought to chime in here too. As the emphasis seems to be on trails, which I don't necessarily disagree with. But in the early days of the Greenway, the emphasis was upon Greenway planning principles, and then getting to regional planning. In the early days, land use planning was a dirty word. And anything that the Greenway did was really controversial in getting communities to think about their own land use, let alone thinking regionally. Maybe the last thing there in terms of planning, reinvigorate the compact process might be something to consider. And including that, let's try something controversial again, maybe following in the governor's office lead about affordable housing. Let's think about this planning process a little bit in addition to the trails. And the trails are useful in getting communities to think regionally and think about planning. It's sort of a Trojan horse to get communities there.
Thank you for that. Anyone else want to chime in with a priority?
I would just follow up on what you said, Bob, that the way to have trails become a network, not just, the trails are so important, but the network of how they interconnect with the different communities makes them relevant as a network.
That's great. Thank you for that comment. Anyone else? Okay. Well, we will keep working over the summer, and our plan is to come back with the committee. Obviously, we're going to be developing a draft plan, and we will come to you in October 8th with lots of questions, lots of things that we want to engage with you on, and hopefully that will get us real close to where we want to be, so you'll have a plan to approve by the end of the year. If anyone has any thoughts that they'd like to share with me, any questions or concerns, my email is here on the screen, info@121advisory.com. Please feel free to email me. We may follow up over the summer with specific questions for the full board. So if that's the case, Andy will be the conduit for that. And it's been lovely to be with you, and just know that there are so many people cheering Greenway on out there, and we're all eager to see what you do next. So thank you so much for including me, inviting me today.
Thank you, Carrie. And so this will conclude the Heritage Era meeting. I just wanted to also add that having formerly, as you all know, been with a specific organization, the Thomas Cole site, I know how that each organization in the Valley is laser focused on their own business, because that's their job, and it takes 200% of their time just to keep that going. So it's incredibly valuable to have an organization that can think regionally. And that's why I got involved, was because I recognized that each organization can't take that role on. It's too much. So it's critical that we have one that can look up from the desk and see the bigger picture and think regionally. So Meg,
great,
take it away.
And before Andy gets all the way up here, I just want to say a couple of things. I agree completely with Betsy. I think our role as a facilitator could become extremely important. And Andy and I both realized today that he's been here a year now. And I know time goes by. And I just want to note, because of some of the comments that you've said, that in that time we've increased our marketing of the grants to let more people know about them. We've gotten a bigger response because of that. I mean, every little bit like that counts, and the staff has been really critical to that outreach. We've also started doing more outreach to county planners, and have a great partnership with Dutchess County, which has always been the county that's really embraced the compact from the beginning and has kept it going for years. And while we have other compact counties, and we're happy to have them, we do want to reinvigorate that program to really make it matter. We have been starting to give more grants, you might have seen, to communities that are incorporating affordable housing into their efforts, while still, of course, maintaining the Greenway principles of trying to preserve what's best about their community to make sure there is open space and there are other elements that are important. We do plan to reach out more to the agriculture community, because that's part of our franchise that we have not embraced, and that's still a major industry in a good bit of our area, in most of our area really, and that we want to make sure that it's sustained. And we're going to be adding a couple new staff. So that will, one in the finance person that you talked about, Andy's talked about, but also we're going to be looking for a communications and marketing person, which will be critical to help extend the brand. So we have some of these elements that we hope are in motion already, and we really appreciate all that both Andy and the staff have done this past year to help build momentum, and your participation is going to be really critical. So if anyone has any thoughts past today as you think about that, please don't hesitate to shoot an email to one-on-one or to Andy. Either way would be great. So Andy? your turn.
Thank you, Meg, and thank you, Betsy. And it has been a year, and I would just note that I'm glad I'm here because at this time last year, I'd been on board for about 3 days, and I came down with COVID, and we had to cancel my first board meeting. So I'm glad to make the June meeting. Glad to be here. We have accomplished a lot in the last year, and our staff for sure has been right behind that. They have challenged me. I have challenged them. I think it's been a good partnership, and it's been a lot of growth, and I appreciate, as I've said before, the work of our very, very small staff. I will point out that one of the charts that Carrie does not have is a staff chart from about 15 to 18 years ago where we had 14 people and 5 planners. We've really taken a hit. So it is that we are in the strong position that we are today is totally a credit to our staff and our people here around the table. I wanted to note that we are, as Carrie said, we are going to be at Boscobel in October on the 8th. That's going to be a shortened meeting. We're going to meet at 9 o'clock. We'll meet for about an hour. We will celebrate Barney. We will take care of business, and then we're going to transition into our retreat for the day. So the retreat right now is scheduled from 10:30 to 4:30. The retreat will not have a virtual option. We will have a virtual option for the board meeting because we have to by state law. But I would really encourage anybody that can to please come down to Boscobel, experience Boscobel. We'll have lunch, etc. It's going to be a good day to really expand on these conversations. Carrie is an excellent facilitator. Her team is strong. Our committee is dedicated, and I would love to see everybody participate. I'll be reaching out over the summer to encourage folks. And that goes for, for everybody who's not here too. So thank you. Let's see. Okay. So, one of the things that I can take credit for, in my year here is something that we've never done before, and that's had an audit by the state comptroller's office. And I can't tell you how mad Scott Keller was. Scott continues to support us. He'll be here through the middle of July. He's held them off for 40 years, and they got us. Fortunately, it's not a financial audit. It is and this only through state or federal bureaucracy can you come up with this name. This is an access controls and vulnerability management over critical systems audit. I had to audit myself just to figure out what that meant. Basically, I mentioned earlier our internal controls document. We updated that as part of this process. They want to make sure that we're safe and secure, that the state financial systems in particular are safe and secure. They realized very quickly that we are microscopic. I think we are by far the smallest state agency out there. We are hosted by ITS, and we are hosted by OGS for our finances on the council side. So this has actually been very clean, very quick, and it's been a good audit. And I think we've learned some good things, and I think we should be wrapping up fairly soon with it. So it's all good. For those of our partners at OPRHP and DEC and others in the town here that have bigger groups, have fun. So it's going to be a good one. I guess I asked actually if there was a trigger for it, and they indicated that no, all of the authorities have to go through this. So maybe OPRHP and DEC don't have to, but I know my friends at the Black River had to do it and others. So anyway, finance manager, Meg mentioned that. We do have a finance manager job position out right now, starting at 93, going up to 118 through the state step process. Applications are due Friday, the 27th of this month. And I just want to note, I've received some very good applications. Our first couple of tries were not very good. I ended up hiring an external accounting firm with help from our friends around the table here, Angela and others. And they are working out really well. So we're going to have a symbiotic approach to our financial accounting as we move forward with a finance manager and an accounting firm, and continue to evaluate that. If you know of anybody out there, specifically somebody with grant management experience and government experience, either in the state or federal sector, please let me know. Or please send them the job description. We'll send it out again after the meeting, so you all have it again. Meg mentioned our communications manager. The state has been good to us this year. They funded the state, they funded the finance manager, they have funded the communications manager position. The application for that, or the job description for that, will be going live probably in about 3 weeks or so. I need to finish it up. I would like to at least get the finance position applications in-house and closed before I open up another one, back to that capacity issue. And I still need to run it back past our executive committee. So, but good things there too. Both of those positions will help to alleviate some of the internal administrative burden that a lot of our staff experience with such a short staff. So that's going to make a huge difference for us. Finally, I'll close out. We have started a nominations committee. I'd like to thank Bob Elliott and Senator Hinchey and Elizabeth Tavros for participating, along with Meg and Kevin. We may expand it a little bit. If you have some interest in nominations, please let me know. We have at least 8 vacancies between the two boards right now, and we have a couple people who are making noises about maybe not participating much longer. And so we have some things to think about. This is a new committee. We haven't really had a nominations committee in the past. And so the other thing that we'll be doing besides just filling our seats with good quality committed people is to take a look at our board materials, how we convey information to you, to make sure that you all understand which board you're on, et cetera, et cetera. So other good things coming out of that committee as well. So thank you to our committee members for that. That concludes my comments.
Okay, does anyone have any old business?
I don't know if this qualifies as old business because it's about 20 minutes old, but as we were talking about outreach for support for our National Heritage Program and how lucky we are to have the bipartisan support we do have, it occurs to me that former Congressman John Faso is now a fairly regular panelist on the WAMC roundtable. And we don't want to ambush him, but it might be good to reach out to him and see if he does support more support for the heritage area, that he could bring that up as a discussion for the panelists on WAMC and just remind people that if there's one thing that we do all care about together, it's our history and our historic legacy. And he would certainly bring another partisan voice, although he's not a congressman anymore. I don't know what he's doing now. But he's very balanced and reasonable on that panel. And I think he could build some deep support for our programs. The other thing, well, this is new business, so I'll be quiet until someone else.
Well, first, that 20-minute old business is an excellent suggestion. I think that's great. And I know Rex Smith too, so I think that the roundtable could be a good forum for that. So we'll discuss that afterwards. And I'm now about to call for new business, so go right ahead.
Back to WAMC and the roundtable. A couple of months ago, I was listening to it because it's pretty much the only radio I listen to. And this amazing woman was talking about a gallery opening of her new paintings about trees that embody human characteristics. And I went to Betsy Jax's website to look at these paintings, and they are so moving. And, so I've seen them online. Where can we see them now?
Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Well, I guess to answer your question, yes, my website is betsyjax.com, so that's easy to remember. And on Saturday, June 21st, there is going to be a summer solstice event in Catskill in the village, and I'll be doing a pop-up at a beautiful shop there called the Stinging Nettle Botanics. And so I'll have my paintings there. And then for the month of July, they'll be at Joust, which is a gallery and cafe also on Catskills Main Street. But anybody who wants to be on my email newsletter, just give me your card and you'll get regular updates. But thank you so much for that call out.
It's great. Follow Betsy on Instagram. It's worth it. Any other new business? Yes, Beth.
I don't know that it's new business, again, it's because it was in April, but since we're on the topic of Betsy, I thought that we should mention, she said she saw us at Manny, the Museum of the Association of New York conference. Wanted to point out that at that conference, Betsy was awarded the Individual Achievement Award, honoring a dedicated museum professional or volunteer who played a significant role in advancing their organization. So they gave out awards to a lot of organizations, but she got the individual award.
All right.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for bringing that up. That's wonderful. Anything else anyone has? Okay, well, I call for a motion to adjourn. Okay, thank you. And second? Come on, Bob. All right. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you so much, and enjoy the view. Yep. I did. I asked if anyone had anything else. Yep, that's right. Go ahead. Go ahead. I missed it.
The meeting is unadjourned.
When I retired, I ran, one of the first things I did is I ran into Scottsdale and down kayaking trails and everything. It really helped introduce me to the area. Our town, though, is in a funky-little position, and that the railroad skirts around it, so that the Empire State Trail and that we don't quite connect yet. But hopefully we will with our local waterfront revitalization.
You want to use the microphone? Just to help. Oh. Thank you.
Okay, but, so Esopus is left out of the Empire State Trail, even though we have the best view of 2 Hudson River lighthouses, 4 scenic Hudson parks, in addition to our town parks, an incredible view of the Hudson. It was actually the location that the United Nations considered at one point because of our views. My question is, and I have no idea how interorganizational things work, but a few years back, I wrote a grant, which you funded, thank you, for the Esopus Explorers Walking Program, which would connect the scenic Hudson parks with our little Greenway trail, or most of it is now flooded, which is another issue. I don't know how wetlands can get built up, but our boating community in Slightsburg really would like to save the Slightsburg launch, which is a major Greenway site and free to all boaters. Anyway, so it would be helpful to understand how you connect, to have the Greenway somehow connect the trails to scenic Hudson parks, I think might be useful all along the river. Does that make any sense? Just addressing the presentation earlier on strategic planning, I know that would surely benefit the town of Esopus.
Do you want to?
As the future goes on,
Oh, okay. And, well, okay. Thank you.
And I know you're about to close your meeting, but I just wanted to express my sincere appreciation to the Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area and the Greenway. I'm Priscilla Brendler with Greater Hudson Heritage Network. And for the last 15 years, we have enjoyed partnership with the Greenway to provide educational programming and workshops to all the different heritage resources and museums in the Hudson Valley. This year, we are very grateful for your sponsorship for Quiet Dangers workshop that is focusing at 3 different sites throughout the region on the quiet dangers in your collection, which is everything from the largest part of your collection, the building, with asbestos and lead and mold, dealing down to the individual objects in your collections, which can also have arsenic and lead and mercury, etc. It's all the things that are in museums' collections, such as taxidermied pieces, medical equipment. You could have some quiet dangers in lead in your paint. And these are all issues that affect not only the collections themselves, but also your visitors and the staff. So I want to thank the Greenway for sponsoring it. The next one will take place at the Aiken Free Library, which is in Dutchess County, which is going to be on June 18th. And then the final one will be at Museum Village in Columbia on October 6th. So I want to thank you so much for your ongoing support and partnership. And also, just a fast shout out and thank you to Beth, Cody, and to Dan for joining us for 3 of our different grant workshops. Greater Hudson provides training and workshops, but we're also a grantor as well. In partnership with both the New York State Council on the Arts and the Gardner Foundation, the Kobe Foundation, we provide grants for museums and collecting institutions statewide for collections care, preservation for their collections, and for site assessments. We have been banding together with us, NISCA, the Preservation League. We've done DIPNIs, et cetera, going around the state providing workshops where we can come together as a collective mass to talk about our different grant programs. And the Greenway has been participating in those with us. We were at the Weathersfield House Museum, which was in Dutchess County in March. We were all worked together and did a presentation at Manny at the conference in April in Ithaca. And then, of course, we were delighted to have the Greenway join us for the New York Preservation Conference. So coming together, letting everyone talk to your staff personally about their different grant opportunities that you present and speaking with them individually, I think really help them understand what your grants are, how they're a benefit to their organization, and also to the larger community at large. So thank you so much for everything that you do for the heritage area, because quite frankly, we could not do it without all of your ongoing support. So thank you on behalf of all the museums in the region.
Thank you, Priscilla. Is there anyone else? I don't want to cut anyone off too early. No. Okay. I'm going to count us adjourned, or we'll consider the previous vote. Thank you. Thank you.